into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello everybody, you are watching and listening to AFTERBUZZ TV Spotlight On. I'm Jason Ikeler, and before we get started, we want to make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and if you're listening on iTunes or SoundCloud, go ahead and rate and subscribe there as well. If you want to be a part of the conversation, today we're using the hashtag Spotlight On because we have a very special guest. Jaafar is here. How are you doing today?
Great, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
So this is your single 16 that we're listening to.
Yes.
We're going to talk all about that in a second, but first I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions, and just say the first thing that pops in your head, okay? Okay, what is your favorite late night snack?
Chips.
Chips, any particular?
Pop chips.
Oh, maybe we can get you a sponsor too. Perfect. Song of the summer.
Song of the summer. Ooh. I'm blanking right now. What songs are out right now? I don't know.
There's a lot.
Really?
Maybe 16. I don't know.
16.
That's
Let's
a
go
good
with
one.
16,
Perfect.
yeah.
Last thing you Googled.
Last thing I Googled. I Googled if there was like a cure for jet lag.
What'd you get?
I didn't find anything too helpful.
I've heard if you go out tanning, actually.
Tanning?
It's bad for your skin, but good for jet lag, apparently.
I'll have to sit out in the sun tomorrow.
I know, perfect. Worst date you've ever been on?
Well, I went on a blind date that was pretty bad.
Really?
Yeah. That was the worst date I've ever been on.
Was there anything particularly bad about it?
I mean, we had nothing in common, and I told my friend afterward who set me up, I said, I'm never trusting you again.
Favorite app?
Favorite app? There's an app called Anrami, which I use for music, and you can download lots of like Eastern music on it because they don't have most of it on iTunes, so I use that a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Taylor Swift or Katy Perry?
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry for sure?
Yeah.
Any reason in particular?
She's a firework.
But okay, first concert you ever went to?
The first concert I went to was Sting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I kind of hear that in your music.
Yeah, I went to Sting. I saw him, I think I was around 10.
Okay.
And I'm from Jordan. We don't get too many international touring acts. I think he was touring Brand New Day at the time, and that was like my first concert. And it was one of the things that made me want to become a musician.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What's the first song you remember singing live?
I sang a Phil Collins song.
Oh, really?
At school. Yeah, it was Another Day in Paradise.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Jordan. When did music sort of become an influential part in your life?
I've always loved music, and I've always been singing, and whenever there was like something at school where they needed someone to sing, they'd come to me. So it's always been a part of my life, and both my parents love music.
Okay.
They're not musicians, but they love listening to music. So I always grew up singing around the house and at school, and then there was a while there when my voice was changing, where I had like a kind of I stepped away from it for a bit, I'd say. And then I came back and I started writing music, and I learned to play guitar as a necessity to write my own music. And yeah, been in the studio ever since then.
When you're writing songs, was it when you were learning guitar, did it just sort of come naturally, or did you learn other people's songs first and then fall into writing your own? How did that work?
I think both at the same time. I learned as practice. I would always Coldplay. I think Yellow was the first song I ever played on guitar or something. So I'd play all these songs that I liked just to learn how to play the guitar, and it also informed, I think, my songwriting later on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's the music scene like in Jordan?
The music scene. I left Jordan when I was like 17, and at the time I wasn't really recording too much. I was writing mostly in Jordan. I mean, there is a music scene. It's very much obviously Arabic music and Eastern music is very prevalent there, so there's a scene for that. As far as the English, there's some cool indie bands. I don't know. I haven't heard too many, but I've heard some great stuff as well.
Do you ever get back there now to perform?
The last time I performed at a festival there last summer.
Okay.
And that's like a huge festival back there, and that was the first time I actually ever performed my own music there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was great.
What was the experience like?
It was great. I don't tend to get too nervous before my shows, but I was really nervous before that show because all my friends were there, and it's actually the biggest show I ever played as well. Oh, wow. Yeah. But I had a great time. It was lots of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you moved to Miami when you were 17?
No, I moved to London.
Oh, okay.
I was in London. I went to art school for 2 years in London, and I was recording at the same time. And then I met a producer in Miami, so I moved there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I started to record an album, although I never released it. I released 2 singles off that album. And then I stayed in Miami, but I started working with a different producer and recorded the album, which I'm still recording right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 16 is the first single off that album.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Do you ever I can imagine like moving across the country at 17 and then moving to another country. How do you figure out who to trust in your career and sort of like who to listen to?
I mean, it was a bit of, I'm not going to say a shock because I've traveled before, but moving away from Jordan was tough. It was tough. I had a tough time with it at first, especially. I didn't make too many friends when I first went to London. I think I wrote a lot of good music at that time, but I wasn't necessarily very happy living in London, but I wrote some good music. And then when I came to Miami, I met a bunch of great people in the industry there who really helped me, and from there I came to LA. I met a couple of people in LA, and so I guess it's trial and error. Yeah.
What would you say is like the best advice you could give to somebody who's trying to do the same thing?
I would say search for your sound. Don't be too trigger happy and just put out your music. Okay. I think that's always worked for me. I've always made sure that I'm in love with a song and it's fully realized and produced before I put it out, because once you put something out, there's no going back. Yeah. So I would say that. Yeah.
So the single is 16. Yeah. What can you tell me about it?
16, it's the second song I wrote for the album. I actually wrote this album right after that festival I played in Jordan.
Oh, okay.
I was playing a lot of my old music, and I realized there was some sort of disconnect. I wasn't feeling a lot of the songs, and so I really went and did some searching for sounds and different music, and I wrote a song called Dahlia, which is another song on the album, and that set the tone for the album. And after that I wrote 16, which has also, I was very influenced by kind of Middle Eastern music for this album.
Okay.
And also, pop rock music, which I've always done, so I kind of found a fusion. I think that's the sound for the album.
That's cool.
In terms of subject matter, it's a pretty heavy song, 16. It's about like misplaced children in wartime and stuff, and I think it's something that's very relevant today.
Are you ever nervous to get too political on a song, or that doesn't really cross your mind?
Maybe I could. Yeah, I do get nervous about that, but I don't ever think about things from a political standpoint. Okay. I just think about it from a humanitarian standpoint more than a political. Even though it has political implications, obviously, but I just always write from a humanitarian standpoint.
So when you're writing, do you prefer to collaborate with other people, or you like to lock yourself up in a room and write by yourself? What's the process?
This is the first album where I've collaborated and co-wrote with, but I tend to write and produce most of our own, or co-write and produce my own music. Jonathan Fazesi, who co-wrote 16 with me and co-produced it with me as well, did most of the songs on the album with me. Yeah.
Is that a scary process? Because I can imagine it's like, these are my babies, now critique me for them or tell me what you like when you're bringing somebody your songs.
No, it's not scary. I mean, I knew Jonathan was in my band.
Okay.
He used to play with me, so I knew him before I started working with him, and he was actually with me playing at that festival. And then when we got back to the States, I played him a couple of songs, and we just took it from there. So it wasn't. I knew him. It wasn't that intimidating. But I can imagine it can be intimidating if you're going into like one of those writing sessions that they do, especially like in Nashville and stuff. You just have like those 10,
just like big groups of people.
I think that can be intimidating. Yeah.
So for your album, when you go into it, you already have all the songs before you go into production, or do you work on them in the studio? What's that like?
I tend to have pretty much fully formed songs. Some of these songs that were fully formed and I was playing live, before I went in to produce them. But I tend to have a really clear idea of what I want to do, and before I get into the studio.
What else can you tell us about the album?
There's a working title for the album, which is Folk Tales of Spring.
Okay.
I think 16 is one of the more serious songs on the album. There are some fun songs on there as well. It's not all heavy songs, but they all have a common link in them, which is that fusion of Eastern and Western sounds.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of social commentary as well on there, as there is in 16.
So when you're playing these songs, and you're playing them in different places like the US, or if you go back to Jordan, how is the response different in each place? Or is it?
I think there's different, even from city to city, it's not country, there's different responses from different crowds. Jordan was like the hometown show, so it was a huge response, and I think that was one of my favorite shows that I've played. But I played tons of club dates in Miami. I played at the Fonda Theater here earlier this year, and there was a great response to the music everywhere. It's different, but it's still great, and you know, people that are really, I say, intrigued more here because it's a sound that they're not really used to. But for the first kind of couple of songs, they're unsure, but they get into it as the show goes by. Definitely.
It's cool because not a lot of people are doing that, combining the two different sounds. Is there an artist in particular that you look up to?
There's a lot of artists that I look up to. I've always looked up to Tom Petty as he's like one of my writing song heroes. The Beatles, Sting, and the Police, obviously. And then on the showman performance side, I love Elvis, and there's lots of different. Those are people who I feel like I rediscovered for myself, because when I was growing up, there wasn't really English playing radio stations in Jordan, so I discovered those records for myself and listened to them, and it was actually it was cool that I hadn't heard a lot of that music before. And then there's a lot of Eastern artists as well that I look up to, like whether it's Jordanian folk artists. I have a Jordanian folk song which I put on the album, but I'm singing in English, so that's something that's new and I don't think it's been done before. There's an artist called Sheb Mami who Sting collaborated on with that Desert Rose song, who sings a genre of music called Dry, which is a genre, I think that's probably the genre that inspired me to start songwriting in the first place. Yeah, and there's a lot of great artists in that genre. It comes from like the North African area of the Middle East, but it's really interesting genre which I love to listen to.
That's cool. Yeah. So for the what's the end goal? Because I know a lot of artists just want to stay in the indie route, or some people want to break into top 40. What is it for you?
I mean, I tend not to classify myself whether it's indie or whatever. I just want to get to a point where I can. I love performing live, so if I can do that night after night after night, then I'm happy wherever I am.
That's good. Yeah. Is there plans to tour? Do we have a summer tour coming up?
Right now we don't have a summer tour because I'm finishing off the album, but hopefully a couple of show dates soon and then a tour after that.
Do we have a date in mind for the album?
I don't have a date. Hopefully it's before the end of the year.
Okay, that's good.
Looking at me.
And any sort of collaborations that are happening on it?
Yes, yeah. There are a couple of exciting collaborations. I have a song called Verona on the album, which I collaborated on with a flamenco artist.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can say his name or not, so I'm just not going to. And then there's a Lebanese singer as well who I collaborated with on a song called Dahlia. She has a feature on that song, and hopefully we're announcing that as a second single.
Oh, cool.
The album. Yeah.
Is there any artist that would be like your dream collaboration?
Yes, Sade, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So 5 years from now, where's Jaafar? What are you doing?
Hopefully I'm just putting out bigger and better music and touring.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So album's coming by the end of the year.
Yes.
If we want more music from you now, where can we find it?
Right now you can go to my YouTube channel and see some of my older music. If you go to my website, it will be updated with new music as it comes out as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, don't forget to buy 16 on iTunes.
It's on SoundCloud. You can download it for free on SoundCloud.
You don't even have to buy it. That's perfect. Yeah. If you guys want more like this, make sure to follow AfterBuzz TV on Twitter and Facebook. For Jaafar, I'm Jason Ikeler, and we will see you guys back in here next time.
Executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.